Hello there, and do not adjust your screen. I don't, I can't explain why I'm doing, you know, making these weird in some form or fashion as I'm reading the anachronisms to you, but I'm just trying to, I think that this kind of, I don't know, I imagine for a viewer or a reader or a person who's listening or watching, it would kind of might create something a little different, might have the mind go in one direction that it wouldn't have normally, and that's what I'm really doing for me, because this project is, I'm sure, mostly just about me, because I'm the one writing it, and sometimes imagining that it might be worthwhile to show it, to speak to, to read it to people, to have people read it. And so, and I know the poem that I'm about to read is a fairly large one. We're up to June of 2021, going through each of the months. Once we finish June's, and we've got 2022 to go, and that's it, because I don't think I'll be up to June of 2023 by the time I finish. I'll be a quarter of the way through every one of reading these things for you and recording them here on this YouTube channel. The blog, the project, historically has always been found on, since July of 2005, on the Google's blogspot, anachronisms with a zms.blogspot.com. So you are welcome to follow along. These poems in June are rather, and I know this will be out of order, as I do with other ones in this same month, but you're always welcome to follow along reading there if you prefer. I know it would be something I would do if I were home listening, but that doesn't mean that you would. It's very easy to find on the right hand side of the blog. You can find each of the months and each of every year, and you just click on that, and you'll inevitably find it pretty quickly, and then you can just go and you can cross-check that way if you want to kind of, you don't understand what I'm saying, or if you're interested in it. I'm not assuming that anybody's going to be interested in it. I'm just like relaying this in case you are. I'm trying to be humble about it, and I am humble about it, but it's really kind of funny that I'm even doing this to me, but it's certainly helping me understand what it is that I have been doing here, doing with these, writing the same kind of within the same realm, within the same, we call project, I guess. Project is I used to think was a horrid word, but I guess I use it all the time now. Anyway, here we go. Monday, June the 7th, 2021, I posted anachronism number 3255, and they're in Roman numerals, the titles, the top titles, MMCCLV, but this one also has a regular title. I call it, There Was an Explosion, period. There was an explosion. These things happen. I was new to the place being right here, and this is a true story, sort of. It was a place, that's what was new, and there was an explosion. I was going to be a writer. It turned out it happened most nights, at least for a while. There was an explosion, and this happened most nights for a while. So I wrote it down. One night when it happened, I had a guest. It scared, quote, the living bejesus, unquote, out of him. That's how he put it. I said it happens quite a bit. Just a magnificent bang, like right out the one window, which is right there. And then nothing. Till maybe the next night, anyway. He was there the next night, too. It scared the living bejesus out of him again. But not as bad as the night before, he said. I said, exactly, and wrote it down. It was something, these explosions, something that was happening, something that felt tragic but wasn't, something to write down, something that sort of situated us, that gave us something to bring up, to talk about, to discuss and wonder over, that didn't have much in the way of consequences, except It got our hearts maybe going a little bit faster and gave us what they call a thread, a piece of string to hang on to together. So it was a connection. We'd had these before, tons of them. So it was those humongous kabooms that came at 1 or 2 in the morning, what sounded like big hollowed out bombs that went off right underneath the window and echoed way out into the city heat of the otherwise silent summer night for what seemed like a couple of minutes, till the sound of the 2 fans, still here, one blowing, or at least, I don't know if, one has probably been replaced by now. One, and they're still blowing and going. It's always hot in this room, as you'll find in these poems. I repeat quite a bit. I also call it my coffin-shaped room and my hot box or whatever. So, anyway, till the sound of the 2 fans, one blowing on each other of us, because the room was always such a hot box. It was like an eternity until the sound of the fans came back to being the only thing we'd hear. And for the rest of the night, I could not even sleep. Not after an explosion. Neither one of us did, as it turns out. I'd allow my eardrums to come slowly back down to just that little fan. I had it on the bed with me. It was a steam bath, still is. Doesn't matter what time of the year. Here in this room, this place that's mine now for over a decade since then, I have to say that the last 6 months have been the most wonderful winter ever. I mean, we're all the way up to April. Today is actually April 19th, 2023, and it's been the most seasonably cool, what I remember San Francisco to be like around this time of year. And it's continuing to be for a while. The forecast is such that it's going to be quite cool the next few days, I believe. Love it. Even though when it's cool out, it is so hot here. I'm on the 4th floor and in just a place where it just gets no air whatsoever. So it's the hottest place I've ever lived. Those explosions, long since gone, whatever they were, they quit happening by the end of the summer. They did. But when you hear one, it was a big enough thing that it would literally bring you back. No joke. It was huge enough that it had shaped life out of what had become unrecognizable. That's how big of an explosion it was. For both of us, I'd say. Or at least I think it was just as significant for my friend. But I didn't see him again. Not once after that summer. Things were starting to get pretty weird, for one thing. I mean, for one thing, he bilked me. And it wasn't like I had much anything to take. But whatever it was, he took it. He took it all. He had this motivation all of a sudden. And that was new. So he took me for all that I had, which again, wasn't much. But boy, did that ever charge me up. And then, gone. Like he never even existed. By then, though, I was back too. I had life. I had reasons. I would wake up all early of a morning, feel the blood pumping, very particularly through my insides, and before I knew it, I was up and I was doing things. And we never figured out what it was went off nights. I have absolutely no idea. I'll pause there and I'll tell you at the end what I think it was. No idea whatsoever. But something sure went off in me that summer. Something I could not contain. And so I've got nothing but gratitude for whatever it was. Those ungodly explosions. Nothing but a huge amount of gratitude. Maybe it was all in my head, knowing what I know of me then. But that doesn't even matter. All I know is that I am here, and that this is true, thanks perhaps to something that'd go boom of a night every once in a while, that long ago summer. So, were it not for those explosions, and that's the end of the poem. On that note, I think that what it was, they were building, I live in the kind of the hood here in an SRO, and gentrification is quickly encroaching, and they've been building buildings out here, and there was a lot of construction going on. But one particular building, I think for several nights throughout 3 months or so, there would be this one big explosion, maybe 2 or 3 actually, in the night, and I think they were just basically excavating. That's the best that I could come up with. I think I had a little help on that, but we figured out it must be excavating for the new gentrified construction that was going up. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. This has been a long one. I really appreciate it. On to the next one.